everyone, and welcome to Hort-Talk, an HTA podcast, episode 19 on groups and committees. I'm Alex Jenkins, your host, and today I'm joined by three very special guests, and I'm going to ask them to introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Whittemore, and I'm the Commercial and Business Manager at Johnson's Nurseries in North Yorkshire.
Hi, I'm Holly Youd. I'm chair of the APL and I'm director of design and build landscaping company Urban Landscape Design based in Chester in the Northwest.
Hi, I'm Ed Holmes of J&A Growers, business manager here, and we're growing field-grown trees and hedging.
So I'm going to start with a question to all three of you and just ask you, what committee is it that you are part of and what does that committee do?
Yeah, so I'm part of the Ornamental Management Committee, and I actually chair that group. And we're a strategic grow group made up of individuals from a diverse group of businesses that are involved in ornamental horticulture. We aim to guide the HTA in its direction of travel and to help in the lobbying activity on behalf of the industry.
I'm current chair of two groups which actually feed into the Ornamental Management Committee that Jonathan just talks about. So one is the Ornamental Technical Committee, which it's only been up and running for 2 years. So I got involved in that group just to help chair it and get it on its feet really from day one. So that's looking at things such as the website and all the technical information and support that's been building up on there over the last year or two. With the demise of AHDB, there's now HCP, the Horticultural Crop Protection Group, and we as the technical committee, we are looking at the risk registers and what products we would like to look for next to apply for EMUs for. Which in the best interest of all of the industry, so all of this ornamental horticulture. So that's working for the good of the group rather than just individuals. And also we help with Wayne Brough deciding on topics for his workshops and masterclasses events that he runs every year. And then I'm also the current chair of the tree and hedging group. So we have 34 member businesses at the moment. There's a steering group of 8 people, active people who work behind the scenes to make the group work best for the whole membership. So yeah, the tree and hedging group, it's a place for growers and suppliers of trees and hedging to get involved. We meet annually at an AGM. So it's great for networking and talking about common problems that we all tend to share. We look at technical aspects, if HTA needs any advice on technical aspects, and also for lobbying, we're there for advice. And we give our members a newsletter every year, those non-active members, just so they can keep in touch with what we're doing and working towards.
I'm Holly Youd and chair of the APL, which is the Association of Professional Landscapers, consisting of inspected landscapers, garden designers and gardeners. And on the committee, we're a group of members volunteering their time and experience to make sure that the APL delivers relevant and beneficial information and guidance to members. We'd like to maintain high standards within the industry and strive to meet and exceed standards and keep on a professional level. So the committee meets several times a year. We also have Zoom meetings in between times as well. We have a main committee and a subcommittee. The main committee are the core members of the committee, and then the subcommittee are other members with different expertise that feed into to advise and help on any information that we need.
So I'm now going to ask you all, why Why did you join these committees? What is it that led you to be on them? And was it the committee itself? Was it a particular person?
I originally got involved really because I wanted to learn more about the industry, get a wider understanding of what was going on. And to be honest with you, at the time, I wasn't particularly impressed with the HTA and what it was doing, the work that it was doing on behalf of the industry. And I saw it as an opportunity to get involved and to, help the HTA move in a direction of travel that really I felt suited the industry better. So it was just a desire to get stuck in, really.
I think there are two reasons really why I've got involved to the level that I have. I think the first is just putting myself out of my own comfort zone and developing myself. It's very easy to get stuck in our day-to-day work and spend our lives in the field, and it's just a way that I can actually get more involved, and it's rewarding actually making new contacts and getting involved. And like Jonathan says, actually trying to help shape and develop the future for the industry.
It's interesting what you say, because that getting out of the business bubble, I think that is really, really important, and that's something that is not as easy as you might think when you, like you say, got your head down and focusing on what's happening within the business.
Yeah, so similar reasons really. Joined to meet like-minded people, to make a difference, to try and give a different perspective on how what information you could feed in. Everybody's got something to offer. So yeah, I've joined the committee and then ended up as vice chair and then chair by accident, I think.
Holly, have you found it useful in terms of just getting more out of the, other parts of the industry that are feeding into the landscaping, like the ornamentals, the what Ed's doing on with the tree and hedging group? Have you kind of found that side of things helpful?
Yeah, but I think the committees could work together more with sharing information, and I'm not sure how much gets fed to us of what's going on, whether we're not actively getting as involved as we should be, or whether the information not coming. But I think getting together more with the different groups would be a great thing.
I agree. Actually, I think I think there is a greater opportunity there for us all to pull together. I know certainly on the OMC we try to have the chairs of the other groups involved, but I'm not entirely sure why. But the APL hasn't really been on the radar there. Holly, what are the main benefits that you really have got from the being part of the committee?
I think it's opened up lots of opportunities within the industry. You get invited to talks, invited on judging panels, lots of events, meeting different people, the networking side of it, and learning more about what's going on in the industry is the main thing, because you don't always know, and lots of discussions that happen on committee don't necessarily go anywhere, or you can't do anything about, but it's good to be involved in those discussions and trying to solve issues, industry-wide issues, not just in the landscaping sector. Yeah. And from a business point of view, customers obviously and staff have more confidence knowing you're involved in making improvements in the industry. You're playing your part, you're serious, you're committed, so it adds a lot of kudos.
Yeah, I think it's quite important as well to get the message across, probably, that we all started once upon a time going to our first meeting, and a lot of the subjects that were being spoke about, although we had a brief understanding, or maybe in some cases, it was all completely new to us, and everybody actually goes through that stage where you go to your first meeting, and it's a really big learning curve. But then actually with time and the more you go to meetings, it becomes the norm, and you start being able to actually help and give your input, and that's just normal development, I think. So there is a younger generation coming through now, which is fantastic to see in the industry. For too many years, I felt like I was the young one, and I certainly wasn't feeling the young one anymore. But there is a new generation coming through now, and I think it's important that they have the confidence to actually just get involved. We've all been there before, all the guys who are on committees like ourselves. We've all started there, and there's no shame in that. It's just time. You've got to actually, put yourself out there, ask the questions. There's no silly questions, and people probably 10 times out of 10 rather than 9 times out of 10 are actually willing to help and want to help you grow and develop within the industry.
Do you think that comes across to folk outside of the committees, Ed? Do you think we come across as a welcoming bunch?
I really hope so. The tree and hedging group, we've actually had quite a number of new members over the last 2 years, and we had over 40 attendees to the AGM this year, which that's absolutely fantastic, and we are getting these new faces, and I'm very keen to actually push that. As the current vice chair, Ray Jenkins from RJ Trees, he is totally on side with that as well. And we're putting some effort in and making a real effort to try and make a difference and try and encourage this new generation. And hopefully all the groups are doing the same thing there, because they are the future, aren't they? We've got to keep the industry developing as we go forward.
The tree and hedging group has a slightly different setup to many of the other committees, in that you are a group of members, and then you have a kind of a steering group. Because one of the things that's occurred to me in terms of the committees, if you like, is that it's easy for us to say there should be no blocks on joining a committee and everyone's welcome, but actually for a committee to be effective and to fully benefit the HTA, it needs to be relatively limited in terms of the number of people who are on there. So it's how do you get that balance between being welcoming and open to kind of new members, but without having a committee that's made up of 30 people?
No, you're absolutely right, Jonathan. And for many years, it's never been a problem. The problem's actually been getting enough people to sit on a steering group. And the steering group of the tree and hedging group, it's limited to 8 people from industry, which that's deemed as a sensible number, so as we can actually achieve and get bums on seats in an office space, because we tend to go around different growers' premises for our meetings. But yeah, also we need to keep, because ornamental horticulture, that term, it's covering such a wide nature of businesses, from growing undercover, growing outdoors, growing big trees, growing it in the ground, growing in pots. It's so varied. So what we try to do as well, going forward, especially as we get more people wanting to join this steering group, we need to keep this the representation of that diversity of crops that we're covering.
Just a question for Jonathan and Ed. Are all the people that are on your groups owner managers of companies?
Yes, I think so. When I try and think through the guys who are on the committee, yes, I think they are.
Because one thing I've been looking at this year is looking at encouraging staff within companies to join as committee members, just for a varying expertise within the committee group. And why is there a reason that it's all owner managers that that are on committees? Is it a time commitment thing? Is it the cost? Is it expertise? Or are companies not thinking that they can put forward an employee to take part in a committee group? Because there's a lot of talent out there.
I think that's a really interesting one, Holly. Jonathan and myself, we're very fortunate in the businesses that we're working for, that they actually appreciate the need and the benefits that we get from being part of the HTA and these groups. Because it does take up some of our time, but having the backing, it's essential. So that possibly is an obstacle to employees actually taking on these roles, because without that backing, it's hard to take days away to go to meetings, or before an AGM you might have to put a little extra work in there, and you need to be fairly comfortable that you've got the backing of the owners to put that time in when needed.
Can I then just throw a question back at you on that? What would you say to someone who was interested in joining one of these committees and wasn't sure? What encouragement would you give them and all their business owners as to the benefits and why they should be joining?
I think for me, a huge benefit is actually developing your staff members. There aren't many courses that are relevant to our business directly that we can go on. So actually getting involved in these groups and building up our knowledge, and actually being able to play a part in steering the future of the industry, it's a huge thing. And for personal development, I find that it's probably the best thing that I could be doing at the moment.
Can I then just throw a question back at you on that? What would you say to someone who was interested in joining one of these committees and wasn't sure? What encouragement would you give them and all their business owners as to the benefits and why they should be joining?
I think for me, a huge benefit is actually developing your staff members. There aren't many courses that are relevant to our business directly that we can go on. So actually getting involved in these groups and building up our knowledge, and actually being able to play a part in steering the future of the industry, it's a huge thing. And for personal development, I find that it's probably the best thing that I could be doing at the moment.
Yeah, and I think there's always that question of if a business doesn't encourage an employee to grow within that business, then there's the danger that they decide they're going to go and grow outside of that business with someone else. And like Ed says, I think that the confidence that comes from being part of a committee and being involved with peers outside of the business that you're working within is it can't be underestimated.
Yeah, like I said before, everybody has something to give, but just seeing all the different perspectives, seeing what smaller companies are, what challenges they're facing, and larger companies what challenges they're facing. It's such in-depth knowledge about the industry that you're not going to get anywhere else.
So what do you think the future of these committees could look like? Where do we need to go with them to make them even more beneficial?
I feel that committees are most useful when they are achieving things. And there's only one way to achieve things, and that's by having active members. So that's been really apparent in the tree and hedging group. We have a steering group, which that you have to be an active member to be part of that steering group. It's not for passengers, otherwise nothing gets achieved. And it's a selfless sort of attitude that you need. you've just got to be prepared to actually put yourself out there and do what needs doing, really, to move things forward for the benefit of others as well as yourself.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think one of the, so it's a difficult one because it almost counters what Ed's saying in a way, because one of the reasons why you have a kind of a steady group of members is because it's often that there's a limited number of individuals who are willing to really kind of put in. But I think there's an opportunity for there to be a more clearly defined path for kind of movement of the members of the committees. I think that one of the challenges that we've got, and this kind of goes into what Holly was talking about originally, is that it's maybe felt that there's not a great opportunity for change. And I think sometimes when you look at the membership of the committees, you see the same names for a long time. And actually, when you look at the committees, the HTA committees, you see the same names on a number of different committees. So should we be more determined to change the membership? Should we be approaching a different demographic of person? Possibly, do we need to have a limited term? For example, 3 years, at which point you either step down from the committee or you step up, as Holly did, to vice chair or chair. And is there a role for the chairs to have as their responsibility to make sure that they continue that flow of people onto the committee, bringing the right people on for the HTA?
What would you like to see from these committees going forward? Is there any change that the HTA can influence that you think would make would have a beneficial impact on the current committees, or any new committees that you feel should be considered?
Don't know about the new committees being considered, but I think what would be quite beneficial to both HTA and the committees themselves is for there to be a sit down maybe once a year between the chair and the HTA to discuss the membership of the committee, to see whether there is a need to change the members of the group, bring other people in, discuss individuals who might be good for the committees. I think there's always an opportunity to bring other people in, as we've discussed earlier on, that sometimes we may be missing a connection between the committees themselves, and I think there's an opportunity for Holly or somebody else from the APL committee to be on the OMC committee, just to have more connectivity between the groups.
Just to kind of wrap up then on the subject, is there anything apart? We've talked about some of the things that the HTA could do and how we could collaborate more between the committees. Is there anything that you would like to see new in this space that you think there's an area that's missing, a committee that's missing, or something that we really should be utilizing this kind of group in order to move forward within the industry?
By the sounds of it from this discussion, we need a committee of committees.
Yeah,
a grand committee.
Well, I agree, Holly. I mean, I think the OMC was originally meant to be that, but I think actually a slightly more focused group, which is just the chairs of the committees sitting down together to actually discuss how things are working as a whole, once a year is a pretty good idea. I agree. Yeah. Ed's thinking I'm on too many committees already.
Yeah. I have no more time to give.
That was rushing through my mind, but I daren't comment. Because I think, whenever we are on committees and we give up our time to go there, the vital thing is that we get something out of it. And that doesn't have to be something, personal, something direct to yourselves. But I mean, as the industry as well, we get something out of it. The last thing we want to do is actually have committees just for committee's sake. But there's some great ideas for going forward. How we can shift knowledge between the groups. That it seems vital, doesn't it? And it should be fairly straightforward to do. But yeah, we really need to get the most out of these committees, groups, and committees that we're on.
Yeah, and I think that we're talking about sharing knowledge, and I think we've spoken about the different approaches of the different committees, and I think that again, if we're sat down as chairs and we're discussing how we are kind of conducting ourselves as committees, I think there is there's an opportunity to kind of shape what the processes that we're involved in, and also bring a little bit more consistency to how we're operating. I mean, I know it's always good to have diversity in what we're doing and who's involved, but equally, I think sometimes there is an opportunity to make sure that there is a certain amount of alignment in what we're doing, and to I quite like a lot what the tree and hedging group is doing, and I think I should be doing more of that with the OMC.
No, you're right. I do feel very proud to be chairing the tree and hedging group and be part of that setup, because there is so much energy put into that group, but the benefits are huge, and they can be seen all over. Just the direction that we're going, the focus that we've had over the last 2 years, looking at robotics and autonomous type systems, and everyone's really engaging so well, and it feels like with the support of the HTA and what being part of the tree and hedging group can offer, that I take must be the reason why we're getting an influx of new members just now, which is fantastic.
And you mentioned, Jonathan, diversity there. We obviously want our committees to be inclusive and to be as accessible as possible. Do you think that we are well represented within all the types of businesses that should be in these committees? Do you think that it is a fair representation and it is accessible to everyone that it should be?
A number of questions within one there. I think.
Yeah, sorry, there was about 3 there.
I think in terms of accessibility for different businesses, I don't see there being any limitation. I think the limitation is understanding the businesses that would be interested in being involved or are able to be involved. I think that's more of a challenge than actually the accessibility. And I suppose there's a question on the back of that, which is, are we kind of putting it out there? Do all the businesses that are involved in the HTA understand that there's a need to be involved? Are we even asking them whether they want to be involved? I think that's maybe more of a blocker than actually allowing them to be involved, if you like.
Fantastic. Well, is there anything else anyone would like to add before I do a little wrap up?
Well, there should be more females on committees. If I'm not sure of the spread on your committees, Ed and Jonathan, but
yeah, no, I totally agree. But I it's and I suppose this is kind of the nub of the discussion in some ways. But I think that we have to have the people on committees who are right to be on the committees, and I don't think it actually matters whether they are male, female, or otherwise. We just need to make sure that we've got the right people on the committees, and that we are making sure that there aren't any blockers to people getting involved, whatever they might be.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with that.
Yeah, I totally back that too. Yeah, well done, Jonathan.
Well, thank you very much to my special guests, Ed, Holly, and Jonathan. Today, this has been episode 19 of Hort-Talk, HGA Groups and Committees. Looking forward to our next episode. Stay safe, everyone. Take care.